$125 million, Jacob, how this film got made. Apparently, it was made by a 4-year-old.
The last movie.
Actually, that's true because it's a Paramount executive's son came up with the idea and they developed it together, but that Paramount executive no longer worked for Paramount. But I think that was before the film even came out. So this film
tells you a lot right there.
I think this thing was delayed for like 2 years too, as they tried to figure out, how to make it work. And I could tell they just said, "Fuck it, put it out in January," because that's really when so many movies come out, and we've got 2 more of these things in January. We've got XXX and
I don't mind
Resident Evil. Okay, well, this is a movie for kids, so I was going and expecting to see like a nice little animated movie or live action with little, these CGI creatures, and maybe a touching story between a boy and his truck, or a boy and this creature that he finds, sort of like an E.T. It wasn't that at all. Why not?
Not at all.
Why not?
Because this had no character bonding at all. They just pretty much shoved all these characters in your face, and it felt bland.
Yeah, talk about shoving in. Jacob was saying, aren't they abusing that creature?
Like the entire fucking movie is like trapped in a car.
Yeah. The boy puts him in the car because he wants his truck.
He likes it.
Because he took a selfie with him, Joe, and
it's like tentacles are hanging out, so there's no way that's not going to get caught up in cars that hits the mountains that it goes down.
Yeah, every time they hit something, the audience can see, man, that creature getting crushed by the chassis, but no, he likes it. But it's torture. He makes a comment at some point that's like, that girlfriend character you mentioned, she's like, shouldn't we tell somebody about these creatures? And he's like, no, what do you want, scientists to poke him around all day?
The rest of the movie.
And the rest of the movie, he builds a custom car that has a bunch of gadgets that poke him around.
It's like one of those air things, and it just keeps hitting
And Jacob was like, is he turning the wheel?
The scientist was treating him way better than he
Okay, there was a scientist character. So basically, how do these creatures get discovered? Well, there's an oil company drilling for oil, and they hit a wildlife preserve. Or no, they hit a water source, and they think maybe there's conditions for life here. There's push on through. It doesn't matter. Oil, we need oil. And then the whole thing explodes with water everywhere, and these creatures come out, and they try to keep it hush-hush.
That was such a quiet explosion, too.
Yeah, it was a weird.
No sound in the whole
scene. It was very.
Everywhere.
It was very produced. It was really weird.
Not as catastrophic. They don't want to kill off a lot of people. I guess.
Right.
They killed hundreds of people on the car.
It's a kid's movie.
Smashing those vehicles all over.
You don't see them die.
So the logic breaks apart, and I know it's kind of odd to complain about logic in a film called Monster Trucks, where there's literally a monster in your truck. But what's interesting is they could have easily explained some of these things. For example, they find that there's more of these creatures, and you've seen it in the trailer, there are now 3 trucks. So they have 2 of these badass custom trucks. Where do they come from? Well, they were built by this high school kid, the lead character in the film, the dude from X-Men, First Class, and his girlfriend that isn't his girlfriend, that he ignores the whole film, and suddenly she's in love with him. And what?
And his friend is not even his friend. They're just using him.
Yeah, they're just using that poor kid. They're like,
ruined his life.
Right, so they're like, we need 2 more trucks. So they show up to this kid who's the only one working at a Dodge dealership. This whole film is like an advertisement for Dodge. So they show up at the Dodge dealership. He's the only one there after hours. Apparently, I was like, what does he own this thing? And they build these custom trucks. They tear apart. They're using saws, and they customize them, and they take the engines out and the suspension out and put the monsters in, and it takes them 12 hours.
Not only that.
2 of them.
Not only that, though. There's 3 of them. One of them is a mechanic. The other 2 are just nobodies. They have never touched a car before. They have no idea what
the girl, and then
kind of
the guy in the wheelchair.
For anyone who wants to be an auto mechanic, you don't need it.
Yeah, they got you ever use these? Here you go.
Jacob was like, man, I gotta take my car to get brakes.
It takes 7 hours for my brakes. It takes
a week to get my brakes fixed. And these 3 vehicles come bursting out while the oil company chases them all around town. This is one of those ones that is hard to suspend your disbelief. That's the point we're trying to make, is that we suspended our disbelief for this creature because it was cute and it was interesting at first, but then the movie just completely goes off the rails, and they're grabbing cars left and right, and they all have keys in them randomly as they just need the next action piece. They have one of these huge, those huge dump trucks that in that Jackie Chan movie, the biggest road vehicles ever. The keys are just randomly in there, apparently, even though, like, a random civilian could just steal that thing and drive around.
Whatever job that was that day, it's like, fuck.
I knew.
Keys in every vehicle.
How the fuck did you lose that truck? And not only that, though, they're going downhill. One of them actually loses a fucking tire, grabs his tentacle, puts the tire back.
How? Oh, yeah, and that trailer track.
You put it
They
back.
needed a fix.
You don't need any nuts and bolts or anything for that fucking tire.
That is
And
not
it's still
how.
going down the hill.
That is not how wheels work.
That's how they built the cars so quickly.
They couldn't. They couldn't even fit in the trucks. They can't logically. This film was made by a 4-year-old, and I'm serious. It was made by a 4-year-old. So, if you're under the age of 10, you might enjoy it, though. And I know there were kids next to us. They didn't really seem that into it.
I've been to a lot of kids movies with kids in them. Those kids should
no
They
enthusiasm.
laugh every once in a while, but like, no.
Barely. So, even if you're 10 or below, probably not that entertaining. Don't go and make the same mistake I did in thinking, oh man, the trailer, creature looks kind of cute. Maybe it'll be an endearing story. It's not. It has problems. The characters suck. In fact, all of the human characters convey less emotions, and they're less interesting than the CGI creatures. I mean, they're the best thing in the film. Anyways, don't go waste your money. Let's get final verdicts from everybody.
Don't trick people. They go
And don't. I said I'm sorry.
I haven't seen a movie in forever, and my first introduction back to the theater was Monster Truck.
You're lucky.
I got you a Christmas present. I got you that Batman statue. That's my sorry gift.
Hey.
Joe, what out of 10?
It was a very simplistic movie. I'm gonna give.
Did you like this more than Underworld?
Yes, I did. Actually.
Why?
You know why?
Explain to
Okay,
someone.
because the other one, it had a plot, but it never stuck to the plot. Like, you were still left wondering
Underworld, yeah.
what the fuck is going on. You guys talked about this entire movie in Underworld,
And then they say, fuck it.
Forget about it. This one is like, hey, here's point A, point B, point C.
Yeah.
It's all straight line.
Yeah.
Done.
And so it had a story. It just didn't have. It wasn't very good. But it's better than Underworld. So what is your
I'm gonna give this a 3.
3 out of 10?
3 out of 10.
I think I like this
I was
film
still
a little bit more than these two. I'm the one who wanted to see it because I like monster trucks, and I thought the little kid in me, maybe this would be a diamond in the rough. It turns out to be shit amongst shit in January, and I'm sorry, guys, but it's not super shit. I don't want to say shit. It's just like painfully average. And that third act goes completely off the rails with all the stupid movie logic. There's keys in every car. All their radios and even CB radios are in. Hey guys, we just got back from Monster Trucks, the spectacular masterpiece of January Begins.
Why would you drag me into this horrific atrocity of a movie?
I'm sorry, Jacob. Please forgive me. I thought that.
You told me we were going to see a mystery movie.
I know
What's
that.
this? You didn't know what it was.
I showed other Joe the trailer, and he was like, "What the fuck is this shit? And why are we gonna see this?" And I said, "Because look at the little monster. He's so cute." And when I was a kid, I loved monster
You got
trucks.
tricked.
Smashing things. Here in Texas is about trucks and going to the rodeo, and they set up all these cars and you run over that. Well, there's really none of that shit in this movie, and it is so average that it's painfully average that I had to do research on how this $125 million, Jacob, how this film got made. Apparently, it was made by a 4-year-old.
The last movie.
Actually, that's true because It's a Paramount executive's son came up with the idea and they developed it together, but that Paramount executive no longer works for Paramount. But I think that was before the film even came out. So this film
that tells you a lot right there.
I think this thing was delayed for like 2 years too, as they tried to figure out, how to make it work. And I could tell they just said, "Fuck it, put it out in January," because that's really when so many movies come out, and we've got 2 more of these things in January. We've got Triple X and
that one I don't mind.
Resident Evil. Okay, well, this is a movie for kids, so I was going and expecting to see like a nice little animated movie or live action with little, these CGI creatures, and maybe a touching story between a boy and his truck, or a boy and this creature that he finds, like sort of like an ET. It wasn't that at all. Why not?
Not at all.
Why not?
Because this had no character bonding at all. They just pretty much shoved all these characters in your face, and it felt bland.
Yeah, talk about shoving, man. Jacob was saying, like, aren't they abusing that creature?
Like, the entire fucking movie is, like, trapped in a car.
Yeah. The boy puts him in the car because he wants a truck.
Jacob, he likes it.
Because he took a selfie with him, Joe, and
it's like tentacles are hanging out, so there's no way that's not going to get caught up in
Yeah.
cars that it hits the mountains that it goes down.
Yeah.
Hills,
Every time they hit something, the audience can see, man, that creature getting crushed by the chassis, but no, he likes it. But it's torture. He makes a comment at some point that's like, that girlfriend